This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground. Delighted to be joined by, and I hate. He's going to interrupt me already. Go on.
Go on, finish what you're going to say.
I was going to say I hate to fucking gloat your ego because I do like terrorizing you, but you're doing all right at the minute, Edward. It seems fitness is going well, life is going well. You've got a good routine. You just still can't answer a fucking text message.
Well, because I'm zoned in, Parsons. I'm massively zoned in on the business, the shows, the fighters, my health, my fitness, my nutrition, my recovery. And I'm like, I'm just in my lane, mate, to be honest with you. But I was thinking about you this morning. As I was walking back from breakfast, I thought, oh my God, I got a Zoom. And I called you in my head, Charlie Parsnips. Right? And not even for banter, just like because I was talking to myself, I was going, "Oh my God, I've got a Zoom with Parsnips at 11." And I was like, "Parsnips? Why have I never called him Parsnips before?" So for the foreseeable, I'm going to refer to you as Parsnips.
That's like what I got in like
I don't
nursery.
know if people find that funny. I find it funny, and I
Got it
think
in
I
nursery,
think.
mate.
But I was thinking, I wonder if he was called Parsnips at
Yeah,
school, but
yeah,
like for
parsnips.
childish banter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a bit of a thing back in the day. Yeah,
Fantastic. So therefore, my humour is very immature. For the foreseeable, you're Charlie Parsnips.
brilliant. Well, on the
Sounds fair
topic
to me.
of me being Charlie Parsnips, I wanted to get the interview off to a start of what is the worst outfit you've ever put together on a night out, thinking that you were the absolute bollocks, and you look back and you just think, what a fucking helmet.
Okay, so when I was about 15 or 16, going through that kind of era, I, back when I was at school, Parsnips, we had, we didn't have CD. Well, we did, this is like before, obviously, Spotify and iTunes. This is even before CDs. I don't know if you were
Cassette?
even born when CDs were out.
Were you a
Did you?
cassette man?
Cassettes.
Yeah.
That's what I had, right? So people used to sell music in the school, right? Because obviously, like you can imagine how rough the school was I went to. And I it's pretty cringe, but basically I was, as you know, I like West Coast rap, old school, like and NWA and people like that were like that was what I was buying off this guy who had the cassettes and stuff like that. And I just went for a stage of like dressing a little bit like, let's say, West Coast rap,
Okay.
right? So I shaved my head and I actually put a line in here, right? And then I actually even wore a bandana a couple of times.
No.
Right, like a public school, private school two-pack. Um, and I started wearing this brand called Blue Bolt. Right? I don't. I think I'm
What's it
sure they
called?
finished decades ago. BLEU and then Bolt BOLT.
Okay.
Right? And it was like,
Oh, it's a little bit like a Visu.
yeah.
Back in.
But back in the day, like so, but it was like a shirt and matching trousers, and it was like a lot of patchwork and like corduroy and like patch and like stuff like this. And then I started wearing this suit, like it was not a suit, but like another outfit from a brand called Trojan, right? And it was like a black like shirt, baggy, with black baggy trousers, and it had a red Trojan down the side, wearing those with Timberlands, and I think even a bandana, honestly. And like even till this day, my best mates will always talk about because they never dressed like this. It was just me. And it was a very brief period before I realised what an absolute helmet I looked like. And they were like, "Do you remember when you had that Trojan suit and you put a line in your hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do actually." So yeah, that was it, really.
Well, we would have given to see the day of Edward at Faces in his Trojan suit and bandana, or was
I'll
that
try and find some pictures. I was a right fat lump as well, to be honest with you.
nothing
Yeah,
changed there then, mate?
yeah. It's been an ongoing battle, 30 years. It is actually a 30-year battle to just try and stay basically just chunky, like you know.
We all love a bit of food. Right, let's
Anyway,
crack
yeah.
into it. You are in Orlando at the Caribe Royale for Jordan Thompson against Porro. Talk to me about the fight.
Yeah, it's a weird fight to be honest with you. Lenny Apero, many see him. Obviously, we signed him. He's number three in the world with a WBA. He's a phenomenal fighter, great amateur. Many believe he's the future world heavyweight champion. He's never fought anyone of any real note yet. Jordan Thompson, he could no longer really make cruiserweight, but we rolled the dice to fight Jai Opetaia nearly 2 years ago now, and he lost that fight. Made the decision to move to heavyweight, came off a few injuries, and he was like he was supposed to come back in an 8 rounder in the heavyweight division. And then we mentioned Pero, and he looked at the fight. The team looked at the fight, and they think they can beat him. They also looked at the fact this guy's ranked three in the world, and think if we beat him, we're going to steal that ranking. Um, Jordan Thompson is massive, massive. I mean, he's going to weigh about 240, 250 pounds, going to be 50 pound heavier than he was when he was in the cruiserweight division. But he's going to need to bring, I always talk about in the heavyweight division the importance of the ability to punch, which Jordan's really got. He's got good foot movement, he's got great speed, but you've got to have that resilience. You've got to be able to take the hammer as well. And I think up at heavyweight, he's going to be able to take more hammer than he could at cruiserweight because of how depleted he was. But he's going to need to do that because, as you saw with Fabio and those guys, you've got to be able to come through the fire and you've got to have a good chin. And you've got to be able to, as I said, take hammer. If he can do that up at heavyweight, it's going to be a real problem. But it's a massive step up and it's a big roll of the dice. But it's a fight that I actually see ending inside 6 rounds because Pero is very dangerous. Jordan punches very hard, and I think he's going to go for gold.
Pat Brown, Nishant Dev, any others that you're excited to see?
Yeah, Amari Jones. I mean, you look at our roster in terms of young talent. Amari Jones, obviously Olympic medalist from Paris, one of the best prospects in American boxing. Pat Brown, I've got to say, I'm so hot on Pat Brown. I think this guy is a phenomenal talent. I mean, forget that. I think he's the biggest puncher in the cruiserweight division, right? And I believe he's going to win a world championship at cruiserweight and go to heavyweight. But it's his IQ, his foot position, everything. He's an elite guy. He's got a massive step up fighting Felix Valera. This guy was a world champion at 175 pounds, lost his championship, fought Bivol, lost on points, just fought Golden Boy's big cruiserweight prospect, Tristan Calruth, I think 16, 17 and 1. And this is Pat's first 10 rounder. He's only had 4 fights. So it's great to see him debuting in America. Got a really good fight between Gomez and Ingram, not our guys, but the local guy and a very good Cuban. And Nishant Dev returns as well. So it's a good little card. Smaller show, obviously, in Orlando, but getting ready for just the maddest run, really, coming up. Starting with Ben Eubank 2 weeks tomorrow. And then obviously Riyadh for an incredible card with a Ring magazine and Bam attempting to unify Ben Whittaker, then headlining. December 6th, Monaco, probably without question, the best Monaco card we've ever done. McGrail against Masood, McCormack against Walker, Beatrice Ferreira against Turhan, Johnny Fisher returns as well. Stockton is a phenomenal card. Pacheco against Sergio, Joe Cordina against Gabe Flores. Tito Mercado's back. Sky Nicholson in a really tough fight as well. December 20, there will be an announcement on Monday regarding our show on December 20 internationally that I'm very excited about. We've also squeezed in a little cheeky Wednesday night on December 17th with Giorgio Vizioli against Joe Howarth and John Hedges and many other. And then December 27th, we shall be in Riyadh for the big Naya Inoue event. So it is just a wild end to the year and feeling great, feeling motivated and very excited about the future of boxing.
I know you're a huge fan of my existence, so I'm sure you would have seen the media day content that came out from Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. All jokes aside, Conor seems very like ego out the window. Like I was
Yeah.
reading some of the comments and stuff, and he's like, "Who gives a fuck?" Like Chris beat me. It's
I,
a completely different Conor Benn.
yeah. I got to be honest. I went to see him this week. I was actually, I mean, I'll say shocked, but I was really pleasantly. He it feels like he's gone from it wasn't a boy, but he's like, when you say he's gone from boy to man through this experience. And I think sometimes in life, you go through experiences that really build your resilience and your character. And I think everything that he went through over the last couple of years and in that fight over that 12 rounds, the experience of the build up, the press conference, the moment, I just think it's built in. What I saw was a really, really smart fighter, like a guy who was really concentrating, dialed in, with a real willingness to learn and improve his IQ. But what I also saw was physically and mentally and emotionally a different person. Like up now at 160, he just looks thicker. He's got, his waist looks bigger, his legs look bigger, his trunk looks bigger. And I was just really impressed with, I mean, I've got to say, not met many people in boxing that work as hard as Conor Benn. Phenomenal, phenomenal athlete, incredible work ethic, but just a smartness about his work and a maturity about his work. And I've always felt that he can beat Eubank, but I left that gym feeling really, really confident that he beats Eubank. And listen, Eubank was surprised in that first fight. There was no doubt about it. He got the shock of his life, and he will be working very hard with Bomac and the team. And I expect a better Chris Eubank. But Connor was poor last time. He knows that. Tony knows that. Like he can be so much better than that. And I really believe he's going to get this performance right. I really believe he's going to win the fight.
I suppose for the winner here, I suppose specifically for Conor Benn, is it a matter of going down to 147 pounds? We see the video that he uploads on the scales where he's more than comfortable at the weight, etc. We know that he's kind of eating comfortably to be at 160. Do you see the future being at 154, 147, wherever the
Yeah, I think
opportunities
I
are?
think that 160. He's obviously not a middleweight. He's never been a middleweight. He'll never be a middleweight again. But that's the weight that we had to take for this fight. Um, he wants to come back down to 47. It's a big jump back. I'll be honest. Like when you've been eating like he's been eating, you've built that additional muscle. 54 is no problem at all. But it's going to be interesting to see. He's adamant he'll return to 47. I think it's a definite possibility. But physically, it'll be interesting to see. But we get this one out of the way first.
I don't want to ruin any surprises, but I'm going to ask you anyway. I heard that there is a little inkling that Anthony Joshua could be featuring on the Monte Carlo card. Now, I've heard kind of viewing conversations in the past saying that pretty impossible for AJ to have a low key one. It's not that he can just pop up in an 8 rounder in Tijuana, but I suppose ideally he'd like to just be able to go in there and blitz an opponent out. There was a chance he would fight this year. Is it possible?
I mean, as usual, 99% of boxing rumours are not true, and that's definitely one that is not true,
Uh,
Charlie, I'm afraid. So I should say that, yes, it's definitely true, but there's no point me saying that because we're sold out anyway in Monaco. So I can't even get, pretend that he's on. So we sell a few more tickets. So, no, I think realistically, February is going to be the date.
Okay.
All I can tell you at the moment is he's ready to fight. Really, I mean, he's about 4 or 5 weeks deep into camp now. Um, Feels great working again. You talk about Conor Benn, like AJ is another grafter, working, 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 and he's excited, and he's on me to fight now. That's the difference. Before I might be checking in with him. He knows when he's ready, and he knows that time is coming. So I don't completely rule out 2025, but I think realistically, all of our plans right now are planning for a February fight. Now, whether, like you say, one pops up in between, we'll definitely consider it. But February is the most likely scenario.
Saudi Arabia, 22nd of November. Obviously, Jesse Bam Rodriguez looks to fight against Cafu, one that was previously announced before his.
No,
Not
he's already
he
fought
fought
Cafu,
Cafu,
but
sorry,
that's,
that's what I
that's all
meant.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. I can help you out there, Charlie.
Sorry, I meant it was announced
He's
previously to
fighting Puma
him fight.
Martinez
Yeah,
in
yeah,
another
yeah.
unification. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
announced previously to him fighting Cafu. What is the current contractual situation with yourselves and Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Eddie?
This is the last fight of his contract with us. We have options beyond that in terms of extensions and stuff like that, of course. And we want to do a new deal for him. We have those conversations with Robert Garcia. We have a brilliant relationship with Bam. He's one of the most important fighters to us. We have a brilliant relationship with Robert and his fighters that we work with. I think we've done the most incredible job for Bam. I think he's been incredible. I think the partnership's been great, and we fully expect to extend that. Like I say, there are, you know, when you come to the end of the contract, all kinds of, rights of negotiation first, but we want to do a longer term deal with Bam because we have a really big vision for him. So first things first, the most important thing is to see him victorious on November 22nd, and we look forward to hopefully working with Jesse Rodriguez for the rest of his career.
Hearing that Whyte-Chisora III will be announced for pay-per-view, just your initial thoughts.
I think you're probably wrong again, um,
Oh,
but you know, I don't know. I don't know. I
new
mean, well,
bearing different to us.
no, not really. I just think, was it they talk about December, are they, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think it's sometimes these things come round very quickly, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was pushed back a little bit. Um, but I don't know. It seems like a very fast move for December, but not my show, not my business. But again, just hearing, you know, that whether that fight happens or not, I'm not sure. But I don't know if it'll be December.
I asked you loads of times in the past about making that third fight prior to Dillian White obviously losing to Moses Atalma and Riyadh in August. As you sit here now, obviously you were never interested enough in making the third fight. What are your thoughts on it, given
Yeah, I had a chance to make that fight about, blimey, 2 or 3 years ago, I think. I don't know. I think those two will always have great fights. 2 or 3 years ago, I thought it was still a good fight. I actually got a lot of criticism and stick for even talking about making the third fight. I thought it made sense. Um, Now, 3 years on, Dillian's coming off a first round defeat. Derek is coming up to his 50th fight, but actually coming off some good wins. Listen, those guys will always make a good fight. I think that Dillian, we don't really know where Dillian's at. I mean, what we've only seen is the Tate fight and the Talma fight. So, um, but hopefully they're still physically, or Del is. I mean, he's still doing it, but hopefully physically they can still give everybody a good fight and value for money. And they're two tough guys, two game guys, and I'm sure they'll will always fight with their hearts on their sleeve.
Edward, this time last year, we basically lived in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Now, that's not to say that there haven't been a plethora of events there this year, but certainly not as many. Obviously, there's been international shows, certain shows that have been on Netflix rather than DAZN, etc. Have you had any conversations with His Excellency? We understand that it's a lot broader, his vision for Saudi Arabia, than just boxing as well. We see stuff that he's doing with Tom Brady, separate other deals. Obviously, you guys announced an extension on your deal, which includes darts and snooker, etc. Do you expect next year to be a bigger one?
I mean, it's been pretty big. I mean, they've obviously done. Oh, it was last that was February, wasn't it? Then they've got November coming up. They had the Canelo fight in May. Then they've got December 27. We're promoting the Naira Inoue fight in Saudi Arabia, which we're excited about. Um, yeah, I mean, I think His Excellency is incredibly committed towards the sport. Beyond the Riyadh season events, you've seen Canelo Crawford on Netflix. You've seen the ring card at Times Square, the ring card in the tennis center. You've seen Ben Eubank twice. So ring fights. So I think it's been a great year. But I think as always, you learn what works and what doesn't. So whether that means it's going to be a little bit more streamlined in terms of what they do, I think they're still massively committed to the sport of boxing, but I also think that they're going to spend their money probably more wisely and make sure they do things that actually work for them because they've had the shock factor now. They've built Riyadh season incredibly well, and now, I guess the model will be in time that there doesn't have to be this massive premium every time there's a sporting event in Riyadh because Riyadh has become the center of sport as well, if that makes sense. Um, so I don't think they're going to be doing less. I just think they're going to be adjusting, learning, and making sure they do the right stuff.
I did watch your interview with Colin yesterday, so obviously I understand your kind of comments about Fabio Wardley, etc. But I thought I will ask you. Obviously, he was someone that was built up on the rise of matchroom boxing. I remember watching him at Matchroom Square Gardens against Simon Vallily. It feels mad now to say that he's just beat Joseph Parker. Just your whole reaction and everything, and like I say, I know something you discussed yesterday, but. It seems like a couple of years ago it was you going back and forth with Ben Shalom on the whole Fraser Clark purse bids. Is there any part of you that kind of thinks, fuck, man,
What do you mean?
in terms of having Fabio as a fighter?
Oh, right. No, yeah, not really. As I said to Cole yesterday, I never really looked back like that, to be honest with you. I mean, we made a decision, when we never fell out with Dillian, but I just didn't like the way that Dillian and his team were working. And obviously at the time, Fabio was part of that team. So once we stepped away from Dillian, both of us, we kind of just accepted that we'd no longer be working with Fabio either. Um, which, I never look at it now and go, damn. And I've never felt like that with any fighter. What I actually look at it is I say, well, bloody done. I think Fabio's a really, really good bloke. Always got on really well with him. And I'm really happy to see him doing so well. That's just how I feel about seeing people do well. Unless I really don't like someone. And even then, I never really, you know, pray for the demise or anything. I mean, if I really truly detest someone, I don't really champion them and want them to do well. But when I like someone and I respect their hard work and the efforts they give in life and to their craft, I love to see people do well. And Fabio's a really good bloke who has worked his nuts off and he deserves all his success. And I'm really happy for him
What
because I've never written him off, but I've backed against him to lose in his last four fights. Not at the bookies, but with you guys. And you ask me and you say, "What do you think?" And I always give you my honest opinion. I thought Fraser Clark would beat him. Yeah, I actually thought David Adelaide would beat him. So Adelaide, Clark, I really believed Honey would beat him, and he did nearly win every round, but he got chinned, and you got to give him the credit for that. Then Joseph Parker. So the last probably four fights Fabio's been in or more, I've expected him to come unstuck because I never truly believed he was a world class heavyweight. I thought with Fabio, his ceiling would be a British title. But with a lot of hard work and with the right people around him on the training structure, but more importantly, with a load of heart and balls, he's got there. And I'm really, like I said, I'm really pleased with him. I thought in that fight, he's always been he's always been a sharp shooter. Like he's always dangerous, particularly early, and when he's under fire, he loves to fire back. But what impressed me more was, I think not just Ben and Lee have done a great job with him, but Rob as well, who's been with him for a long time. He's just matured as a fighter. So his ring IQ, his ring craft, his feet position, the ability to tie someone up, the ride shots and not get hit clean when it appears you might be getting hit. I think he's really improved as a fighter as well. So yeah, no, never like, oh damn bollocks, I wish I had him. Fuck. More like, fucking good on you, son. Go and get your dough. And you deserve it.
what did you make of the stoppage as a whole?
I went through this yesterday as well. For me, it was early, but one, when you're being rained down on by 30, 40 punches in a combination and you're not throwing back and you're not holding. Now, I appreciate you're slipping and you're sliding, but in the moment when you're hurt, which he was clearly hurt, and you're not firing back, and Fabio's just unloading, at what point is enough enough? And I don't think it was a disgraceful stoppage. I just feel like Parker was okay to carry on at that point. But if you're not firing back and you're not holding and you're just sitting on the ropes, it's only when you watch the replay back you notice that a lot of them aren't actually landing clean. But um, you know, it was a great fight, and I said about the Froch Grove stoppage as well with Matt Lenehan. He was quite surprised what I said because probably looking back, similar to that stoppage where Groves was hurt, and I think Groves was on the way to getting stopped badly in that fight. But with the world championship on the line and the way that Groves was doing in the fight, he probably did deserve the chance to see whether that was going to happen or not. Now, I truly believe he would have got flattened, but who knows? So, they're big fights, they're big moments, but the ref's job is to protect the fighter. And it's all easy saying, oh, it was too early, but then what happens if you get flattened and maybe it can cause some damage to your career?
He called Oleksandr Usyk generational, but not unbeatable. There are flaws there. I mean, there is some arse, like you say, you've picked against him, but against you, and no disrespect for these guys, but your David Adelaide, your Justice Hoonies.
Yeah,
Oleksandr Usyk is a completely different kettle of fish.
he is, but he's also getting old. And, I mean, again, Fabio, you know, there's another level, obviously, when you're fighting Usyk, and Fabio would be a massive underdog, but he can punch and he's game and he won't be afraid to let his hands go. But that's a different kind of challenge.
Have you had any like DM communication with Dana White at all? Because obviously you throw it back to when you're putting on Canelo Golovkin 3 in Vegas and you're posting up at the UFC Performance Institute. Like now the position you're in with the back and forths and that if you were in Vegas, do you feel like you could go train there? Do you feel like you could go sit
No, I don't think that, he won't want to engage with me. Like, I don't think he'll be wanting to be hospitable with me
there? Okay.
anymore, if I'm honest. Like, and that's a bit sad. But previously, we got on extremely well because we weren't competitors. Now we're competitors. For me, if I was in Vegas and he DM me and said, "Oh, I see you're in Vegas, do you want to I'd go straight away. I'd go like a shot and go and have a drink with him or a meeting. But when you get something your own way for so long and really don't really get any criticism or don't have any competition, when you start getting criticised by someone calling you out or not liking what you say or firing back when you make comments about them, I don't think they can. Like, don't forget that's been my day-to-day activity for nearly 20 years, right? Like whether it's Frank Warren, whether it was Oscar De La Hoya, whether it was Aaron, whether it was Leonard Ellaby, I mean, plus another 10 others, all I've had is people come at me, people try and stop me in the tracks, people try and criticize you. And in the end, like it's what I said to you about, building that resilience like Conor Benn. In the end, you become completely bulletproof to that because it just doesn't bother you anymore. And it's such a wonderful feeling to have that you kind of just overcome the criticism and people making shit up about you and and spreading this and spreading and and it's like, do what you fucking want. I don't care. I'm fucking bulletproof, mate, because you've been through all that, right? And that's how you build resilience. But where he's never had that, I mean, he's had to overcome a lot, but he's not used to people calling out what he says or in the industry. And now that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to like it at all. I mean, and I play nice with him. You'll never see me, and I wouldn't do it to even my worst enemy because I just, there's a difference between a personal attack and an attack within the industry and talking about the product, the job, the opinion. And you'll never get that personal side from me. But if he wants to come out and say, problem is with these guys, including me, Eddie Hearn don't think big enough. And what has he done? And this, whoa, mate, whoa, it's my life. So now the game changes a little bit. It still doesn't have to be unpleasant, but yes, we're going to go back and forward a lot. And he's probably looking at me right now thinking, I like Eddie Hearn, but actually, I think he's a right prick. But I'm not really. People are just asking
It's
me
business, isn't
what
it?
my opinion was. Yeah, but also, oh, Eddie, what do you think about Dana White said that you just don't think big enough?
Mm.
Whoa, mate. Whoa. What do you want me to say? Oh, well, I respect his opinion. Yeah, no, I don't. So, you know, it's it's on site, bruv.
Come on, bruv. It was announced. I know that you tried to kind of play it off as an international show, but Ring Magazine did put out a good couple of weeks ago, and I'm not going to pretend I didn't know that show, last show of the year for you, excluding Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, will be in Ghana. Who could feature in Ghana?
There'll be an announcement on Monday
You don't want to give us any
regarding that
clues.
show. Why would I give you that
Eddie,
information
you
when there's an
spoil
announcement on
stuff. Like
Monday?
I'll interview Frank, right? And Frank will be like, I can't tell you that. And I'll be like, well, Ed's just said it 5 minutes before. You're the
But that's
king
because
of
I've got a big
spoilers.
mouth.
Yeah.
And like what, so and every time I do it, they go to me, why are we making announcements when you're just telling everyone before on some dodgy YouTube channel?
Is that what we are now? Is that what we've resorted to?
Basically, yeah. So the answer is yes, we will be in Africa on December 20th. There will be an official announcement on Monday, and I can't wait.
You know that some of your like security and team actually come to us, I say us, various media outlets, and get their work schedule from our interviews. You need to keep your employees more in touch, Edward.
Again, you're amazing, Parsons.
Thanks,
Like,
mate. I was talking about the
yeah,
media
yeah.
industry as a
No,
whole,
no,
not
I'm just
really
like the way
me.
that you provide that information to our team. Thank you. You're amazing.
Andrew Tate is now the Misfits boxing CEO.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a political one. I don't really know if you have a stance on it, etc. He's taken KSI's crown, it seems. I mean, your thoughts? He was a former
I
world
don't really know
championship
anything
boxer.
about it. I mean, I don't really know anything about the guy other than obviously his uh, not really memes, are they? But his stuff pops up on my feed every now and again because I guess the algorithms of boxing and politics and whatever. So I've never met the guy. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if that's a risky move for the brand, if it's what's happened with KSI. I have absolutely no idea. But I think I watched Mam's sort of unveiling, and I mean, I'm just as a fat like as an outsider, the view that I got was that things have gone a little bit off track, and we got to change something because it's not working, or it's not. I mean, that was his words, kind of like I'm not letting Misfits. What did he say? Go down the pan or whatever. So, and Mams is. I've never met Mams either, but he looks like a right competitive guy, So he's a battler. So he wants to do something outrageous and fire back, and this is his way. Good luck to everybody. I don't really know anything about it. That's it.
Couple more quick ones. Vidal Riley, I saw your comments. We had some early discussions. They approached us. He terminated his contract. He was a free agent with Boxer, etc. I don't think we'll be working with him. Had a little look at a lot of the fan responses, and everyone was a little bit surprised by that. I don't know if it's a change of. I saw what you said about Misfits, etc. I know Misfits have their pro category, but off the back of the victory against Chev Clark, he's got a tremendous online following, kind of like the Eddie Vidal in my world. I see it alongside your kind of Dave Allens, your Johnny Fishers, in that they've got that big social media following. It seems like a good match. Where are you at?
I've not had any conversations with Vidal and the team. I think Frank Smith's been leading that. So what to say? I don't really know enough about it. I think I've heard that he's considering some misfit stuff, which kind of like doesn't put me off because I don't like misfits. It just puts me off because I'm like, I just want a real fighter that wants to just create a legacy and win championship belts. But you got to do what's right for you, and it doesn't. All I can say is I've not been part of those conversations, and it doesn't sound like we're going to be moving forward.
Who are Eddie Hearn's top five scumbags?
Charlie Parsnips, top five scumbags. I don't like using that word
So just
because that
me.
is a what?
So just
No,
me.
no, I don't like that word because that's a low life word to even use. If I'm honest, like there are people who are duckers and divers. There are people who are hustlers. There are people that, but scumbags is a very, very strong word. Very strong word. Um, so yeah, there are a few people. There's not really anyone. So I don't like I don't I never I try not to let anybody really affect my emotion and my I don't know. I think one thing I've learned lately is You really got to elevate yourself by putting yourself in the right company and energy, you know. And I was playing golf yesterday with Ian Poulter at Lake Nona, and he's a guy. Bear in mind, people don't really know. I used to represent golfers, right, for 6, 7 years of my early career, not with Matchroom, with another company. And I tried to sign him when I first met him, but people were saying to me, he ain't very good. He basically, like all these guys, like same kind of thing, in boxing, you come out of the Olympics, you come through the World Championships, all this kind of stuff. He worked in a pro shop selling Mars bars and basically just grafted and got himself on tour, right? But I liked him and he was different and he had that kind of something about him. And I went to see him yesterday. I mean, went to his house late night. I mean, and I was just thinking, wow, what you have done and built is actually phenomenal because no one really gave you a shot. He's a little bit like Fabio Wardley, right? In the respect of no one expected. He's played 7 Ryder Cups, right? He's made tens of millions of dollars. I don't know, and it's all because of one, his tenacity and obviously ability as well. But also, he was talking about just I wanted to get in those circles that would elevate me. And by those circles, I'm not talking about circles that can give you something or a leg up, just circles that can elevate your work ethic, your mind, and make you understand and educate you on what it takes to be successful. Right. And I think the problem with Britain and our country is everybody's so negative and say miserable, but like there seems to be this, oh, it's always me. What do you understand? And then and then you're around other people who just are so focused. You see, I think we're sometimes a little bit of a nation of moaners and gossips, right? So you just upgraded the interview because you want more minutes. Fuck's sake. I think we're generally moaners and gossips. Sometimes when you're in the company of certain people, right? The last thing they will ever do is talk about or be negative about other people. Sometimes you get in a conversation with people and you sit down and this is how the conversation starts. You're right. Oh my God, have you heard about so and so? Oh my God, so and so's done that. Oh well, yeah, yeah. Now, oh, do you see them? Oh, you see that? Oh, they posted on that. Oh, and it's just like, and what I've realised is that is so one, that's so bad for you, and two, that is so draining. When you're around people who have the right mindset, who are successful, and who are driven, all they're concerned about is their own lane and their own business. And if you allow to wander, if you allow to bring that negativity in, if you allow that kind of hate to fill you, it really affects your own momentum and your own energy. And I think social media is a massive problem, like for the next generation, because I think the root of that negativity a lot of the time is social media. This person's posting like, look at their lifestyle. Wow, look, look at them. Look, I'm over here. What? But actually, social media is a load of bollocks because when do you ever post the bad times anyway? When do you post when you're feeling like shit or you're knackered or you don't want to get up anymore or like you just don't do it? So I don't really know where I'm going with this, but just playing with Paul yesterday was a really good switch on where he was like, I just wanted to, rather than hanging around with certain people on the tour that might play and go, miss a cut and be like, Mr. Cut never works out for me. Fucking like, I'll never get a break. Or he wanted to go and hang around with Tiger Woods and Lee Westwood and Darren, like the guys that were winning and were just driven and working and working. You got to slot into that world if you want to be successful. Because if you allow the negativity to creep in, you'll never go anywhere. And that
Well,
was my lesson for today.
that is your lesson for the day. You have been Eduardinho
It's a
Hernandez.
little bit like you creeping in and hanging around with me.
But
Elevating to the point of, look what's happened to your career since you met me.
Which I've
versus
always given you your
basically
props for, in all fairness.
no, but you got to find a way into that environment. I was joking, by the way, about being around me, but actually thinking about it, it is true. Like you got to, and it's not just about seeing someone that's got something or oh wow, look at their house or whatever. It's just about the mindset. And I often, when I go through a little bit of a, you kind of lose a bit of momentum and you take your foot off the gas a little bit, get a bit lazy. That's when you allow that negativity to creep in. And there's nothing like being in conversations with people with good energy and who are actually driven to do things. That's why I'll always say, and I know people take the piss out of me. Being around AJ is amazing because he's got such great energy. He's so driven. He's such a hard worker. He really wants to improve himself every day and get better and better. And for me, that's inspiring. And it was a bit like that with Poulter yesterday. Like, just wow, you're on it. You are. He's 49 years old. He's on it. You know. Anyway, good luck, people.
Driving
Catch you
still,
later.
mate. Edward, lovely talking to you. I've got Winks and Matty on my case, so fucking
Okay.
don't get me in trouble, please. See you
See you
later.
later. Bye.